Hey folks, Jim Thomas here, Fitness Management and Consulting, and I'm coming to you today to talk about goals, plans, and setbacks for your gym. And we're certainly going through some interesting times in the fitness industry, and I want to talk a little bit about planning. Plan of action and how we're approaching this and where we need to be and what needs to happen. This is a little bit of a continuation, from our previous video where we talked about some of this. But let's start first with your goals and what kind of goals that we're setting. And there's two kinds of goals that when I talk to our clients, there's two sets of goals that we want to look at. We want to look at tangible and we want to look at intangible. And of course, tangible, hey, whatever it might be for that particular club, we want to get 100 sales a month. We want to generate, 500 new leads. We want to book a certain number of appointments. We want to conduct a regular training and staff development program. So we're going to set out, these goals and things that we're trying to accomplish from a very tangible standpoint. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to set intangible goals. And the big intangible goal that I want to suggest for everybody right now, and there could be several things in here, but one that we're really focused on is we want to create certainty in the marketplace. And so we've got a goal to create certainty, certainty in the community, certainty with our member base, certainty with our staff. We want to create this as much as we can because ultimately this is really kind of the big issue that so many folks are facing. And so then we're going to set up a plan, okay? And what is this plan going to look like? How are we going to hit this sales number? How are we going to train the staff? How are we going to generate these leads? And so we're going to go through a complete process on that. Same thing on certainty. How are we going to create certainty, throughout all of this? What's our strategy going to be? And so we'll put this together. But now I want to get into really where we really want to focus on right now, assuming these other things are being done, right? And so it's what I call roadblocks and setbacks. And we're going to have roadblocks and setbacks. Right now, this video is being recorded here the end of June, July 1st, I think it's tomorrow. And there have been some clubs across the country that have been open at some level since May 1. There's some that opened up middle of May. Not long ago, just recently, California started to slowly open up. There's still some states that have not opened. North Carolina and New York, I believe, are two. Maybe New Jersey's in there. And now there's talk of some starting to shut back down. There's talk about Texas and Florida and some other places, starting to contract a little bit on some of this. And so what are the potential roadblocks? Well, maybe, clubs have to go back to a 20%, occupancy. Maybe indeed, shelter in place is going to present itself. Certainly, setbacks and roadblocks are going to be a lot of uncertainty out there. And so what we need to be looking at here is what is this strategy? What is this plan B strategy going to look like? And how are we going to handle this? Because what it's really going to take here, for a lot of folks, it's going to take a lot of intestinal fortitude to work through this. I mean, you're seeing every day, companies that are filing bankruptcy, some trying to restructure, some closing, some that just don't want to keep going through this. But one of the things that we know for sure, if we keep working through this, in times of crisis, there is an opportunity. And there is an opportunity right now, for those that want to take advantage of this. And so, as you've heard me talk about many times, it's so important we keep our head right. Let's get our plan in place of how we're going to do this. Because when you start writing this down and you have a written plan of action, it will truly give you a sense of control over what we're trying to accomplish. If we don't write it down, we're simply responding, to everything that happens to us. Really, we become really a victim of circumstance here. Okay, so sit down, think this through. And I would say for many folks, the ones that we talk to, it's not always that easy of a process because too often we're not used to really thinking this through. We're simply used to responding to kind of what happens. But let's really think this through. What is our strategy going to be? How are we going to respond if a member is diagnosed with COVID? How are we going to respond if one of our staff members is diagnosed? How are we going to respond if we have to cut back to 25%? How are we going to respond if we're back to sheltering in place? How are we going to respond to customer uncertainty? There are answers to all of these, because the reality is your customers will still buy, but we have to demonstrate, this certainty. And so let's get this strategy in place. And for those of you that are not sure, check out the link below. I'm offering a free, no cost, no obligation, free strategy session, 45 minutes. Click the link, send me your information, and we'll get a time scheduled to talk with you on how to approach this, okay? Because you can grow your business right now, and truthfully, this might be the best time, to grow your business with so many folks that are not doing this, and particularly if you do get a second wave, some folks, they just might choose to not continue. Now, also as part of this roadblock and setbacks, what is your strategy? And I'll continue to say, one of the things we're having great success with our client clubs is marketing in our local areas and marketing to other clubs for those that do not want to continue, that simply don't want to deal with it anymore, that don't want to go on, and the potential of acquiring their member base, even acquiring some equipment. But it's a great opportunity to exponentially grow your member base at your facilities. Think about it. Think about, if you go back, or if things change, or if you're still not open, treat this like a pre-sales. People will still buy. Make sure we're selling the right thing. We're solving problems, we're providing solutions, but people will still buy. If you decided that, man, now's the time that I don't want to do it anymore, okay, let's look at maybe liquidating your equipment. Let's look at, selling your member base. Let's look at, selling your assets, and depending on where you are with that lease, being able to unwind, from this thing. In some cases, maybe you do all of it. Maybe we try to get your gym back on track, but maybe you want to sell your business. There's a lot of good business models out there. There are buyers. There are people out there looking. There are people that want to get into the industry. But think through what your strategies are. What are your options? But then let's operate with absolute certainty in what we're trying to accomplish. That's going to be the key here. I can't stress this one enough. Again, my name is Jim Thomas. My company is Fitness Management and Consulting. If you enjoy the content that we present to you, hey, please consider subscribing. If you really like it, please consider sharing the information. It helps me reach more people. Helps me help more people in a great time of need. To help either grow the business or unwind the business and just get peace of mind. We recently helped someone unwind on it, and their basic comment was, hey, I can finally have a good night's sleep. And maybe that's where you're at. But if you're trying to make it work, you're trying to figure it out, either way, we're going to be able to help you. Again, my name is Jim Thomas. I hope you have a great day.